Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the College Football Pregame Show. This week is SEC week. This will be our last conference preseason preview for the offseason, and football starts in 1 week for those of you watching this when the video comes out. Now, let's get right into my power rankings. We're going to get through it real quick this week so we can get straight to the picks. Starting all the way down at the bottom with number 16 is going to be the Kentucky Wildcats. They are generally unimpressive, and I don't really have much good to say about them. At number 15, I've got Mississippi State, whose defense isn't too terrible. The offense is a concern. And the Cowbells, you don't want to go on the road and play Mississippi State. It doesn't really matter how good the team is when you have that entire stadium going clang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang. It's not a fun place to play, and they'll usually just squeeze 3 or 4 wins out of that. Then number 14, we've got South Carolina. I have not lost faith in Lenore Sellers after the less impressive last season, but I just don't think he has the team around him. I don't frankly think Shane Beamer is the best head coach in this conference, so I'm going to leave them down at number 14. That might make some people upset, but we're going to move on to number 13, Auburn, with Byron Brown, one of the better quarterbacks in the sport, playing QB. Pretty good offense overall. I like what Alex Golesh did at South Florida, and I think he'll continue to do good at Auburn, but I don't think he has the defense especially. I don't think he has the depth and the team all around him to really succeed, so I don't think it's going to be a breakout year for Auburn. And the same can be said for number 12, and that is the Florida Gators, with former Tulane head coach John Sumrall at the helm. It's also shaping up to be a good couple seasons in the future for Florida if Sumrall can keep it together. But I don't think this is a year one turnaround, so I'm ranking them number 12. Number 11, the most likely, I think, breakout from a new coach in the SEC who was hired from the American, is the Arkansas Razorbacks, with my former coach. I know I have the Mizzou gear on for SEC week. I'm a Memphis fan. My former coach, Ryan Silverfield, leading the team. He seems pretty confident that he's going to do well. He said that the lights were, quote, on, and that everything was already running exactly as it should be in order to succeed. I'm a bit less confident, but I do like what he's doing with the offense. I think Sutton Smith, also, I really wish he had not gone to Arkansas, but he's at Arkansas now. And he is going to be one of the better running backs in the conference. I have a lot of faith in him. It's the defense. It was such a problem last year. It probably cost them about 5 or 6 games. And I think they're going to have the same problem here in this season. Now, number 10, a bit of a fall from grace for the Vanderbilt Commodores. They no longer have everyone's favorite and then now everyone's least favorite in a span of about 10 hours quarterback, Diego Pavia, who then went undrafted, in case you missed that. However, they do still retain one key piece to that offense, which I think was criminally underappreciated last year, and that is running back Cedric Alexander. The stats don't make him look like the best running back, with only about 570 rushing yards, if I remember correctly. I didn't write it down, though. It's overall, if you watch the film, he makes plays, gets things done, was very consistent for this offense, and I think he will be really good. And also those stats, keep in mind that they had one of the best quarterbacks and Heisman finalist, Diego Pavia, running the offense, so they didn't even really need to use the rush game a lot. He still put average stats together. So I'm putting them at number 10. And now, because in case I haven't made you angry yet this video, let's fix that. Number 9 is the Alabama Crimson Tide, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's going to make some people upset. Kalen DeBoer, I still don't have faith in as a head coach. He's put some good wins together, but I just don't see him as an SEC. I don't see him as a dynasty builder. And Alabama may not have made the right decision by hiring him. The overall team is not bad, but it's certainly inexperienced. There's not a lot of veteran starters out there. And I'm just really not confident that this is going to be a good year for Alabama. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. We'll see how I pick my games, but I don't like Alabama this year. Number 8, I've got the UT Tennessee. I guess in this conference, UT is no longer specific. It's the orange one who goes by UT. That's with the obnoxious fans. I'm sure that'll narrow it down in the SEC for you. But no, it's the Tennessee Volunteers. As much as I don't like Tennessee, do really like their defense this year. I think that they've got a really good defensive unit put together. I think they're going to hold teams to pretty low scores on average. It's the offense that I'm just not sure about. Deshaun Bishop looks pretty good, but I'm really concerned with the passing game. I just don't think it's going to be great this year, and so I'm ranking them at number 8. Number 7, we've got Texas A&M. They do return Marcel Reed, who was a key part of the offense last year. I think as long as everyone stays healthy, which is always a big if, something always happens to Texas A&M, then I think it might even turn out to be a playoff year again. But I'm not seeing any real. I'm not seeing any national title contender energy coming from them, just because I don't have confidence in the entire team. And the same can be said for number 6. That is the Mizzou Tigers. They got incoming transfer Austin Simmons, who was the starter for Ole Miss until Trinidad Chambliss happened. And at some point will be returning Ahmad Hardy. He's currently recovering from a gunshot wound that was inflicted on him in Mississippi during the offseason, so hope he gets better. He will probably play sometime this season. And I think Mizzou's offense, even without Hardy, is still really good. The defense is also quite exceptional. This is, I think, this has been said several times before, but I do think this is Mizzou's year. I think they got it. And even if Austin Simmons doesn't do well, you still got Matt Zollers, who I have seen play. He was pretty good for a third string coming into the year. So I really like Mizzou. At number 5, the Lane Train takes its way to Baton Rouge for the Louisiana State Tigers, and frankly, I don't see a national title. He did leave his team in the middle of the season to go win a national title at LSU, and is probably farther from one than Ole Miss is at the moment. I just am not as confident as I would like to be. Don't get me wrong; it's still a great team, but especially having to deal with being the bad guys of college football this year, LSU has got a lot on their plate. I'm talking about them, by the way. I'm making them sound not very good. I'm ranking them number 5 in the best conference in college football. I'm talking about them as a national title contender. What their odds of that? They're still an excellent team. Sam Levitt at quarterback, I really like. It's probably going to be a great year. I'm just not sure they have it in them to win a national title. Then, at number 4, I have the Ole Miss Running Rebels. As much as I really want them to be terrible this year, Trinidad Chambliss for some reason didn't go to the draft. I don't know. I guess he wants to keep cooking in college football. Is back, and so is Kawan Lacey. I think that Pete Golding surprisingly rebounded somewhat nicely, and I think Ole Miss is in a position to make the playoffs. Once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen, like the miracle run that happened for their basketball team or their football team last season. So we'll see. At number 3, I have the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners, which I was not expecting to do going into the research phase of making this video. But with John Mateer at the helm, I'll go ahead and give you a spoiler for my top 25 video awards picks and playoff predictions, which should be out now, by the way, so go check that out after you're done with this. I picked John Mateer to win the Heisman. I think he is legitimately the best quarterback in the best position to really lead an offense to a great season. I think Oklahoma's going to do really good with Brent Venables coaching. I think Oklahoma is a serious national title contender. There are definitely teams better than them, but they're up there. Now, number 2, I wasn't expecting to like them this much, but the Texas Longhorns. They're just really good all around, and as much of an Arch Manning hater as I was last year, I'll be real with you, looking at his stats, he might actually be pretty good at football. He got 26 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, and that's last season. Yeah, if he continues to progress and develop as a player, then honestly he might be pretty good. I hate to say it, but we might have yet another Manning dominate the sport at an obnoxious orange school called UT. Now, moving on to number one. That is the only remaining team, the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart may not have the best team he's ever had. Yeah, with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, I think the team is that good. They are probably in the best position of anyone in the SEC to win a national championship game. Of course, you got some Big Ten teams, Notre Dame, Miami in the way of that, but Georgia looks pretty good, and they are my favorite to win the conference going into the picks. That said, let's get into the picks, and we're just going to get right into it. If I already picked the game, I'm just going to not talk about it. You see it on your screen. We got Arkansas will beat an FCS opponent. I'm going to change two picks. The first pick I'm going to change is that I had Louisville beat Ole Miss on the road as a bit of an upset, and frankly, I'm just so much less confident in that. And the second upset that I'm going to pick here is, I think I was I was considering making this pick in my American video, but I just wasn't sure enough. But now that I've done the research, I think the Florida Atlantic Owls will beat Florida on the road. It will not be the first time they've lost to an American team at home in recent memory. So, yeah, I'm going with FAU there. I will stick with Clemson beating LSU on the road. I am feeling that upset. Then Mizzou beats Arkansas Pine Bluff. The spread, I believe, on that game is 54.5 last time I checked, which is, wow. Tennessee will beat an FCS opponent. Georgia will beat an FCS opponent. So will Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Although, I mean, if it was a worse FCS, if it was a better FCS opponent than Youngstown State, I might pick Kentucky to lose, but I don't see that upset happening. Then in week 2, you've got, I picked Tennessee to lose to Georgia Tech. I'm keeping that one. Let's see, Florida will beat an FCS opponent in the Campbell Fighting Camels. South Carolina will beat Towson at home. And then Alabama at Kentucky should be a pretty safe win for the Crimson Tide. Then in week 3, you've got Georgia at Arkansas. I think Kirby Smart and the boys can handle that one. I'm taking the Dogs. Then Auburn and Florida. I'm going to go with the Tigers at home. And then LSU at Ole Miss. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. I think, as much as I don't like picking Ole Miss, that they're probably going to get some revenge on Lane Kiffin at home. I'm going with the Running Rebels. Then you've got Mississippi State at South Carolina. I think I'm going to take South Carolina. I could absolutely see Mississippi State going 0-6 on the road and 6-0 at home this year just because of how they work. Then Texas A&M versus Kentucky should be a win for the Aggies. Sticking with all my other picks for this week. Going into week 4, South Carolina at Alabama. I think I am going to take Kalen DeBoer's Crimson Tide for a 4-0 start against South Carolina. Then Vandy and Auburn. I think I'm going to take Auburn. Jordan Hare's got some weird magic going on, so I wouldn't be at all surprised, especially considering that that's not even too much of an upset. Then Ole Miss at Florida. I hate to do it, but I'm going with the Rebels again for a 4-0 start. Texas A&M at LSU will probably be a win for the Tigers. Mizzou at Mississippi State. I think I am actually going to go with Mizzou on the road just because, I actually went to the Mississippi State at Mizzou game last season. That game was just a stomping. And frankly, the two teams are at about the same level. In fact, I think Mizzou's a little bit better and Mississippi State's a little bit worse. Cowbells or no, I think Mizzou is just better as a team. I'm going with the Tigers. That's 3 of those. And then Obnoxious Orange UT at Obnoxious Orange UT. I think I'm going to go with Arch Manning and the Longhorns. Hook 'em, I guess. I think on the road, they're just the better team. And then Georgia at home. No. Tennessee's defense. Oh, I'm second-guessing a pick. I'm sticking with Texas. I'm going to stick with Texas. Georgia versus Oklahoma. I'm going to take the Dogs. Then LSU can handle McNeese. Then Mizzou versus Florida will be a win for the Tigers. Then Alabama at Mississippi State. That's a dangerous game for the Alabama Crimson Tide, because I think after a 4-0 start, I don't think many people, this would be quite the upset, assuming my other picks are all correct and this is the situation when this game is played. I'm taking the Bulldogs. I think they will beat Alabama at home and get to 3-2 in Week 5, and then South Carolina will beat Kentucky. Texas A&M will beat Arkansas at home, and then Tennessee can beat Auburn. Georgia can beat Vandy for a 6-0 start. Then in Week 6, Georgia at Bama. Oh, this was a pretty big upset when Alabama went and beat them last year. Kirby Smart statistically has struggled against Alabama. I almost think that really the skill of the teams doesn't matter. It just sometimes weird things happen in the SEC, and I think that is the case here. I'm going to take Alabama to beat Georgia. I'm also going to take Arkansas to beat Tennessee. Ryan Silverfield and the team can handle Tennessee at home and make the upset. Then Florida versus South Carolina, I think, is going to go to the Gators. Mizzou can beat A&M for a 6-0 start. And then the Red River rivalry. Oh my goodness, what a game this is going to be. The number 2 and number 3, according to my power rankings. But the game is at home for the Sooners. It's in Norman. And I think I'm going with Oklahoma. I think I'm going to take Oklahoma. Then LSU at Kentucky. I don't think I'm going to be able to pick the Wildcats for that one. LSU is just so much better. And then Vandy versus Ole Miss. I'm not seeing the upset there. I don't think the passing game is good enough for the Commodores. Then in Week 7, Mississippi State at LSU. Probably going to go to the Tigers. That's the 4th time I've said that this video. Mizzou at Ole Miss is probably... that's a good game. If it were in Columbia, I'd want to take Mizzou, but it's in Oxford. So I think I'm picking Ole Miss for a 6-0 start under Pete Golding. Yeah, wasn't expecting to say that today. Then Oklahoma at home against Kentucky. A&M can handle the Citadel. Why are SEC teams scheduling the Citadel in Week 7? What are we doing, Texas A&M? Schedule harder teams. Come on. Then Alabama at Tennessee. The 3rd Saturday in October. This could, with Tennessee's defense, this is probably even a safe win for the Vols. I'm going with UT. Then Florida at Texas. Florida did manage to upset Texas last season. I think this year the Longhorns are able to take care of it, hook them. Yes. Alabama at Georgia is going to go to the Dogs. No, sorry, Auburn at Georgia. Excuse me. And then Arkansas at Vandy. I kind of see the Razorbacks winning. I'm going to pick the Hogs there. And then in Week 8, if my website will load. Yes, it will. Texas A&M at Alabama. I think I'm taking the Crimson Tide to go to a bowl game there. LSU at Auburn. I don't see the Jordan Hare-Magic working that well. Nothing crazy this year. Then Oklahoma and Mississippi State is probably, I'm going to take the Sooners. Tennessee at South Carolina will go to the Vols. Mississippi at Texas is going to be a win for the Longhorns, providing Ole Miss their first loss of the season. And I'm going to take Vanderbilt to beat Kentucky on the road, meaning the Wildcats will not go to a bowl game. Mizzou at Arkansas, a bit of an underrated rivalry, I think. Mizzou at Arkansas, I think somebody that's not supposed to beat Mizzou is probably going to beat Mizzou. And this year it might be Ryan Silverfield's Hogs. I think they might handle the number 6, in my power rankings, number 6 Mizzou. Then Georgia at Florida, another good rivalry, going with the Dogs there. Mississippi at home against Auburn. Oklahoma at home against South Carolina. And Texas for 6-2 start with a win over Mississippi State. Now in Week 10, I'm going to take Arkansas. No, I'm not. I'm going to take Auburn to beat Arkansas. And a bit of a coaching rematch between Ryan Silverfield and Alex Golesh. They've played on several occasions. Then Oklahoma at Florida will go to the Boomer Sooners. LSU can probably handle Alabama at home. I've said probably a lot this video. I'm sorry. Let's see. Georgia at Ole Miss. That seems like an upset waiting to happen, but I don't think it. No, I'm going with Georgia. Then Mizzou will beat Texas at home. You heard me right, folks. Dropping Texas to 6-3. Vandy at Mississippi State is going to go to the Bulldogs, and then Texas A&M at South Carolina. South Carolina almost pulled this upset off last year, and they blew. I think it was a 31-3 lead. That was their one shot against Texas A&M for a while. I'm going with the Aggies. Then Tennessee at home against Kentucky. Then in Week 11, you got Arkansas going to a bowl game with a win over South Carolina. And then I'm going to have Texas beat LSU on the road. Mississippi State at home against Auburn. I'm going to have Oklahoma beat Ole Miss. And then let's have Texas A&M beat UT at home. Beat Tennessee. Got to stop doing that. Georgia versus Mizzou. I'm going to give to the Bulldogs, I think. They're just probably the best team in this conference far and away. I'm going to have Florida beat Kentucky on the road. I just don't think they're that terrible for the 2-8 record that I had them having, so I'm going to give the win to Florida there. Alabama at Vandy, the big upset not far away in many minds of Alabama fans. I think they'll get a little more payback and win back-to-back games against Vanderbilt. Then stop. Why? Why is Week 12 FCS week for the SEC? What is this? Alabama plays Chattanooga. Auburn plays Samford. Ole Miss played in Wofford, and Mississippi State playing Tennessee Tech. What an honorable way to get to a bowl game from Mississippi State by beating Tennessee Tech. Quite a challenging game, I'm sure. Then Vandy will beat Florida on the road. Then Mizzou at home. I'm going to take Oklahoma to beat Texas A&M, giving them 10 wins. Georgia at South Carolina. I'm going to take Tennessee to beat LSU and Texas to beat Arkansas. So going into Week 13, let's see, we have got Clemson at South Carolina. I already picked that game to Clemson in my ACC video. Same deal with Florida State beating Florida. Pretty confident in that. The Iron Bowl. I really want to pick Auburn this year just because how down Alabama is. But I don't think Auburn's good enough. So I think I'm going with Kalen DeBoer and Alabama football for a 9-3 season, despite the fact that I didn't rank them in the top half of the SEC. LSU is probably going to beat Arkansas on the road for an 8-4 finish. Then Mississippi State at Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. I think this is probably a win for Ole Miss this year. Oklahoma at Mizzou. Probably going to go to Oklahoma. And Texas A&M, one of the best rivalries in college football. This year I think it's a pretty safe win for the Longhorns, who actually might still... No, they're not. They're 9-3, doesn't matter. If you're in the SEC, you make the playoffs. Georgia and Georgia Tech. Already picked to Georgia. I'm sticking with that. I picked Louisville to beat Kentucky as well. And I'm going to have UT beat Vandy this year. I just don't see it coming from Vandy. So, going into the conference championship, Georgia and Oklahoma, both 11-1 and 8-1 in conference play. Texas and Ole Miss are both 9-3, so is Alabama. Tennessee and LSU are 8-4, and Mizzou as well. A&M, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Auburn all 6-6. Vandy 5-7. South Carolina 4-8. Florida 3-9, and Kentucky 2-10. Now let's pick the conference championship game between Georgia and Oklahoma. Georgia is probably far and away the best team in this conference, but I think Oklahoma might have the best player in all of college football, which means this is a very difficult decision. Either way, both of these teams make the playoffs, so the game doesn't really matter that much, which is sad because it's the SEC championship. Honestly, I'm just feeling an Oklahoma win for this game. You can criticize the decision. It's more based on vibes than numbers and stats. But I'm feeling Oklahoma, and the game doesn't really matter. That's going to do it for the preseason video series. Go check out my playoffs and top 25 predictions. That's it. We'll see you next week for our Week 0 show.